Father, we thank you for today, and we thank you for our elected officials that serve our community. We pray your blessings on them and their family, and we ask you to be with them as they make decisions. We thank you for the residents that have come out tonight and to attend our meeting, to have a voice, and we just ask you your blessings on them as well. Thank you for our city. Thank you for all the many wonderful things that we have in Los Fresnos to enjoy. And we ask you to be with us and help us to always do well by that. In Jesus' name, amen.
I'm gonna go ahead and open up the public hearing at 6:01. Public hearing to receive comments for the public concerning the rezoning of 4.79 acre tract of land from C2 Highway Commercial District to R1 Single Family District located east of FM 802 and west of Cameron County Housing Authority on the north side of State Highway 100. At this time, the public hearing is open.
Mayor, before, excuse me. Mayor, before we,
Mark, are we able to, would you like to explain it, Mark, or it's basically just run through? So there's a piece of property that's located next to Coastal Event Center. And there's a piece on the front that's commercial. And what this is we're trying to make it residential because there will be some subdivisions for some homes added there. Am I correct on that, Mark?
Yes, sir. It's the one that was discussed last meeting, and I think you brought up the question what's commercial and what's residential. The very front part of the property next to Highway 100 remains commercial. The back part for a little place, it was initially commercial. It will be residential as well as the rest of it as it's annexed.
if I may say something else before we go into this public hearing. Just for the sake of, for the record, that we, in some locations, we need to correct our agenda to read, it's FM 803 instead of FM 802.
You know what? I did catch that. Thank you very much. At this moment, if there's no further discussion, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing at 6:03. At this moment, we would like to get the visitors' remarks. I'm going to start by the first person that I have here, Mario Canales. Would you like to come up to the podium, please?
Good afternoon, everybody. Just wanted to make it official and make sure, try to get some help for the problem we got on the neighborhood for drainage. And I guess everybody here then lives on the same street. We're having this kind of a problem for not for 1 year, probably about 3 years now. And sorry, on FM 1575 in Sanford Road, in that area where is Old Alice Road or FM 1575, and it's always kind of floated out there. And the problem that we got is not just when it blows. As soon as it rains, the first 30 minutes, an hour, all the drainage start kind of getting messed up. So everybody can express themselves. Well, that's all I can say. I'm requesting for some help and just get attention on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Canales. And just to remind the board, that's 1575 right past Stanford Road on the right-hand side. Is that correct, Mark? So they understand what we're talking about? And this is in regards to drainage. So next up on the visitors' remarks, we have, is it Fernando Gonzalez? Fernando, why don't you come on up and you got 5 minutes to speak, Mr. Gonzalez.
Hello, my name is Fernando Gonzalez. I just moved there about
You can take your mask off if you feel comfortable so we can hear you.
3 years ago. And we having problems with the sewer. When it rains a lot, the sewer, we cannot use the bathrooms because it's all the bathrooms and the sewer is going to the yard. So that's the only problem I have, my bathrooms. You cannot take a bath. I have to go to the Walmart, I have to go use the bathroom to Walmart or whatever store. That's the only thing I have. I've been there about 3 years, so this is my first experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gonzalez. Next visitor remarks comes from George Castro. You can come up to the podium and you got 5 minutes, sir. Thank you.
Sí, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Jorge Castro. Vivo en 31899 FM 1575 y el problema viene siendo lo mismo. Somos 9 personas viviendo ahí y tuvimos muy bien la elevación. No, el problema nosotros no es con que se inunde por fuera. El problema nosotros es que las aguas del sur se vienen todas para afuera. Yo en mi caso tengo 4 años en esa residencia y la primera noche me tuve que salir del cuarto porque no se podía aguantar el aroma y desbarató el toilet. Y quiero que tomen muy en cuenta en el nombre de Jesús, como hicimos esta oración, de que lo hemos estado diciendo el año pasado, hablamos y nos dijeron que era falta de una pompa o no sé qué, pero ahorita fueron 3 días que 9 personas con mis nietos desde los 6, 7 años hasta los 13, a mi esposa que es deshabilitada también, y tengo a mis suegros de visita de personas de 80 años que tuvimos que despertarnos a medianoche para usar el baño y salir al pueblo a buscar quién nos daba la oportunidad de ir al baño. Verdaderamente un día pasa, ¿no? Pero ya 3 días es algo grave, ¿no? Más que todo porque estamos moviendo, yo también estoy deshabilitado, tengo que andar abriendo las pipas, manejando el agua de las pipas y tengo que abrir los clean outs y si no los abro a un cuarto, si se mete en el shower, se pone lleno y han de saber que es una cosa terrible. Y con niños chiquitos y viviéndolo a mitad de esa noche, y pues imagínense ustedes, ¿no? Vivir esa situación. Los hemos hablado y siempre lo mismo, ¿no? Que una pompa, que otra pompa, pero esta vez fueron 25 minutos, 30, y ya estaba inundado todo. So, ahorita apenas vamos a empezar los tiempos de agua y es algo urgente en verdad, porque es muy duro con familia chiquita y personas mayores de edad a andar buscando dónde hacer tus necesidades fisiológicas. Y se los pido que nos ayuden. No sé a dónde tendremos que ir, qué es lo que tenemos que hacer, pero por eso vinimos aquí para ver si nos pueden ayudar, porque un día pasa o entendemos o comprendemos, pero ya yo me llevé 3 días y más que todo esos olores, no puedes habitar en una casa así. Pero espero que nos escuchen y que puedan hacernos algo, ayudarnos a resolver este problema, ¿va? Porque principalmente que todo es también de salud, por salud, ¿no? Para todos mis nietos, ya como está toda la situación que estamos viviendo. Muchas gracias. Sí, somos todos vecinos, aquí estamos porque ya esto y otras personas que no pudieron atender.
We got visitors remarks, so they'll be coming up and speaking.
Mark, In this area, we were talking about some lift stations, does one of those into this area or no?
I didn't understand.
We have been talking about some lift stations, repairing some lift stations and stuff like that. Is that one of the lift stations that's at that area or no?
It's another issue and when they finish, I'll summarize and give you information.
Thank you.
Tengo nomás algo más que agregar, si puedo hablar. Yo siento que este problema se agudizó más ahora que abrieron las colonias que hicieron para atrás, de ahí por la Stanford, porque antes ahí se salió una laguna y cerraban, bloqueaban el road ahí, ¿verdad? Por un mes o algo, porque ahora no hay agua, por ahí puede pasar, pero ahora el agua la tenemos nosotros en nuestras propiedades acá enfrente. Para que se tome en cuenta eso. Y yo también reporté ahí porque se abrió un socavón, se abrió un agujero, como que algo pasó en la pipa ahí, y esa agua era la que nos estaba floteando todas las propiedades y que es pura agua negra, ¿no? Gracias. No, no mucho, por eso hablo español. Ajá. Bueno, yo no hablo mucho inglés, pero aquí están mis vecinos que ellos sí hablan muy bien inglés y esto nos incumbe a todos, ¿no? A todos nos incumbe. Sí.
Gracias, Mr. Casino.
Gracias.
Next visitor remarks comes from Justin Schaefer. If you'd like to come up, you got 5 minutes, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It's the same issue on another neighbor. It's been going on for about 3 years. So here frequently, it seems like, it rains an inch and we already have to open up the valve to release it. We're waking up at night with the smell, water in the bathroom floor from it coming up from the toilets. So like you said, we got to open the valves and then, you get waste all in the yard. But if we don't do that, again, it's going to come inside the house, whether it's the shower or the toilet. One thing, the core problem is the drainage. One question we'd like to find out is who's responsible for the drainage in that area, whether it's county, TxDOT, or the city. Because that's the question we have, Los Fresnos says the sewer, but who's responsible for cleaning out the drainage or, maybe adding a drainage somewhere? That was one of the questions we would have, like who can we speak to? Because we're not sure if Los Fresnos is going to zone that area or what, why do we have Los Fresnos sewer and then county, everything else? It's just a question we'd like to answer. And what he was saying on Stanford Road here recently, there was a subdivision that went up, so there was a pipeline that was done. And also the irrigation district did some work in the area, but this last time it rained, as the water would come from south to north under the road, instead of going through the ditch, it was coming up on the side of the road. And it was just adding to that whole area of, of water just circulating in that area. That's why I think it took an extra day or two for the flood water to drain this time. Because one side of the road was about 3 foot, 3 foot down from the other side. So that water was it wasn't going through the ditch. There was a pipe or something messed up there. But besides that, just the drainage in general has been bad there. The roads haven't been cleaned in a long time, stuff like that. And I mean, just one day with a backhoe is what we're asking, just somebody to clean out. But we don't know who to go to, whether it's county, TxDOT. So if we could just get some answers on who's in charge of what in that area.
Sounds good. We'll get Mark to summarize some of the questions that you have here at the end when everybody speaks. So just after everybody speaks, we'll address that.
Yeah, here's a video that I don't want to see it, but here's where the water was coming.
Yeah, and just for you guys to inform, any questions you have, come or call the city manager, and he'll answer a lot of questions.
It actually made a pretty good sized washout there. Right on the side of the road.
Anything else you'd like to add, Mr. Schaefer?
No, that's all.
Thank you very much. One more visitor remark on drainage. I got Ricardo Bai. Go ahead and come on up, Mr. Bai. You got 5 minutes to speak. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. My name is Ricardo Bai. I live on 31955 FM 1575. It's basically, we're having the same problem. It's a lot of neighbors that a lot of the neighbors that were already mentioned to you. I have been living there for about just a little over 3 years. Prior to that, I was living in the county. I had a mobile home over in off of 1732. Now, one of the main reasons that I decided to become a homeowner is mainly because of the same reason, that I wanted to get away from the septic tank. As every time we in the previous times, we had that problem where when there was a flood, we couldn't use bathrooms or the facilities because of that. So my wife and I, we worked hard, and we decided to purchase a home. And we really wanted to be a part of Los Fresnos community, mainly because I grew up here, and I have my business here and everything. I have everything here. So we're very thankful for everything you guys have provided. But unfortunately, little that we knew was that whenever we purchased that home, we were going to be having the same problem again, the same thing that we had whenever we had that mobile home, when we had a septic tank over at FM 1732. And I figured the first time it happened, I figured, okay, it's, floods happen, not a big deal. I did my research before purchasing that home. I think I spoke to my neighbor and my neighbor's son, which they were students of ours. I spoke to them before I purchased the home and made a down payment on it. And they told me that everything was good, drainage was good, everything was working very, very well in that location. During that time, just a little after I moved in, they were doing some construction in that location. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was Peterson construction. They were doing maybe the water lines for that subdivision that they're building. And little after that, that's when we started noticing that problem happen over and over again. Now this was about 3 years ago, and that time has been consistent over and over and over again. Every time it happens, we call the police department here in Los Fresnos after hours. During that after hours, or even during business hours, we have to contact the city hall and advise them of the problem. The problem is that every time we call them, it takes a while for them to come by, and whenever they do come by, the workers, they tell us the same story. It's either the pumps are not working, or they are working, but they just have to turn it on. And then sure enough, once they claim they turn it on, I want to say maybe close to an hour or so, the problem is solved. And then a lot of things, the construction. So there's a lot of excuses that keeps happening. They keep bringing up over again. And it got to the point where it's not just flooding times where it happens, but it's also small, light amount of rain. Light amount of rain is what triggers this. And there was a time on June 9th at 8:59 p.m., June 9th at 8:59 p.m., there was absolutely no rain that happened that day. And I had to call the sheriff's office for them to come by and file an incident report. I didn't bring the incident report. I'll gladly provide it to you at a later date. But I made an incident report with the sheriff's office and about that to let them know that it was the same thing happening. There was no rain happening during that time as well. So it's not just light rain, it's not just flooding, it's also has been happening on no rain at all during that time. And what the bad thing about it is that I live, well, I mean, I'm sure we all get it pretty bad, but I live right in the intersection of FM 1575 and Stanford. I live right next to that empty lot, and I get pretty much I think the worst of it is because that stone is the area where it pulls out a lot. This past storm that just happened, I managed to make a video, which I gladly provide after all this, where you can see there's a fountain of sewage water coming out of those cleanups. That all that water that's been in front of my whole front lawn and my neighbor's front lawn and so on and so forth. It's not really rainwater, but it's sewage water. So much so that it becomes a hazard because it smells horribly. And if we don't take away that cap, that water has been done before. It goes into my showers and it goes into the toilets as well. And you can imagine the smell of all that, of all of ours, waste in there. So I know I'm out of time, but thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Bai, very much for your comments today. Now, we will address that shortly. I'm going to finish with the visitors' remarks so we can get all of them out of the way. Next up, I have Mr. Manuel Abrigo. If you can step up, you got 5 minutes time.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. I have several subjects that I want to touch on. The PD sign, have you all seen the new sign at the PD? That's awesome. My hats off to Chief Gonzalez. It's really a great job. It's good. And it's just stands out. July 5th, July 4th, 5th, we had the fireworks display at the park. My hats off again to the city and the CDC. It was really a really first-class job. They did an awesome job in displaying the fireworks. That was really good. Appreciate that. On another note, I was out of town and I drove in, and one of the first things I checked, it was pouring rain, and I went to Alvarez Court. And I'm very happy to mention it to Carlos that there was no drainage problem. Everything was soft. The water was pouring. The water was draining into the canal. So obviously Alvarez Court has been taken care of. I know you have other concerns, probably on 10th Street and 9th. Well, we can't take all of them at once, but at least Alvarez Court, which was a big issue for the last 2-3 years, it's really, really nice. It drained, it really went really well. One of the other things that I want to discuss is the supporting the Air Force, the Confederate Air Force air show that the CDC approved last night, funding for the air show. I don't think it's right for the CDC to be spending money way out of the district. I mean, that's closer to Port Isabel. I think that if we do, we have the agreement already. By the way, they asked for 5,000 and the CDC gave them 7,500. And you have it here on your consent agenda. I think that if we're going to do that, we ought to just go ahead and stick with 5,000. And I know there's people in the community that feel that it's way out of the area and it's not really that much commerce for the city of Los Fresnos. The last thing that I want to talk about is the concerns on here in the city when you have a complaint of high grass or a dead dog or a pothole. I like to know the procedure. I did talk to Jackie, and I know I have a concern on an alley by the Wells Fargo drive-through. It runs parallel between Second and Third Street. Those potholes are really big. And I know I checked today with Jackie and it's scheduled to take care of, but this is been going on since February. And I know that it's certain things and weather and people working, but if it's not taken care of again, I'll come back next month. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rodrigo, for your time. Last visitor remark, we have Gregory Keeler. If you'd like to come up to the podium, you got 5 minutes to speak.
Good evening, Mayor. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. So I grew up in Los Fresnos. I spent the last 34 years on active duty in the military. I'm now retired and moved back home. And as we just mentioned, the Community Development Corporation, I understand there may be positioning open for that. And so I want to put my name in the hat because I spent over 20 years experience producing informative analysis for budget decisions for the Army staff, the Joint Staff, and Office of Secretary of Defense, $1 billion budgets. And so I have some skills on analysis for budgets. And so I want to, now that I'm back home and finish my career in the military, I'd like to continue serving my country by serving my community. And so I want to put my name in the hat for the Community Development Corporation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Keeler. Mark, would you like to address the concerns, residents?
Yeah, I think it's proper. A lot of times we don't address and we get with them, but we visited with them. Carlos has visited with them. And so we need to do it in a public forum since it's a big issue. The first part of it's not in the city limits. It's in what we call our CCN for sewer service. And so if you remember back in the 90s, the city made a decision to run sewer all the way to Larelas to 510 in quite a few areas. I think there's 8 or 9 lift stations there and some 400 customers that are hooked up to the system that's outside of our city limits. The drainage, the question was asked, who does that? You will get told Cameron County Drainage District number 4. You will get told Cameron County, and you'll get told TxDOT because of the road and the road right of way. I reached out to TxDOT over the weekend because of Stanford Road. I know it well. My father-in-law lives just down from there. It's flooded there since I remember many years. It seems like it is flooding worse. I think a couple of you mentioned that it seems to be worse than it was. I reached out to TxDOT because, and the folks that live there know as well, to the east, about a quarter of a mile is a drainage ditch. To the north, about a quarter mile is a drainage ditch. To the west, about a quarter mile is a drainage ditch. To the south, about a quarter mile is a drainage ditch. I don't understand why TxDOT Drainage District number 4, which you probably pay taxes to that drainage district there. And then of course your Cameron County residents, it seems like that the easy fix would be to drain through the bar ditch to one of those 4 areas, and they can pick which area. It's kind of terrible that you have a ditch. There's a lot of places don't have a ditch to go to, and so there's a lot of problems. But I asked TxDOT, they said they would get back with me. It's not our responsibility, but it affects us because when that water is there, we're getting some inflows into our sewer system, which causes the backups. So we need it fixed as well as you do. If we can get them to do that, one of those directions, and get the flow from the bar ditch, in a heavy rain, maybe it backs up, but it should go drain off quickly since there's drainage ditches very close by. then the other problem becomes is your property, get it to drain to the ditch as well. But I'm sure that you would do that very quickly. If the water was leaving the bar ditch, you would do that very quickly. So that's probably something that, depending on what happens with TxDOT, maybe I develop a meeting that we all get together with the city, with each residence and TxDOT and maybe Drainage District 4 and our county commissioner for that area to be able to address that. And so that's one of the pieces of the puzzle. And yes, it does affect us because I said that water, if there's a manhole that's underwater, it drains into the system, which gets your backup. One of our struggles with the county area and doing sewer to all of that area is there's a whole lot of low-lying areas all throughout Laurellis. What people do, and I know why you take the cap off. You take the cap off because it prevents it from coming to your house. And I would do the same thing every day. But there's other people that are not in the low, as it comes down, that's one of the lowest areas on our system. And so that's why it's prevalent in that area. Up in Laurellis, as it's higher, there's some properties that are low lying. Well, those folks will take the cap off to drain water off of their property. And what that does is inundates the system and overloads the system to where it can't keep up. The pumps have always been working. I don't know if there's a language barrier or something from or what they know, but our pumps work. It's just they're not working fast enough for the flows. The flows are too great in order to keep up. Even if we put larger pumps, we're confined to a certain size of the pipe. So what we're looking for in your particular area is a leakage into the manholes. Because as that water backs up along the road, it then covers the manhole. And if there's a leak there, then it fills that up and fills our system. Carlos has a guy that worked with yesterday to begin that. He looked at some yesterday and some today. They're not all uncovered with water yet. So we will continue that. And we're concentrating from Henderson Road to Stanford Road. That seems to be the area, and that's a mile. If we determine that it's not a manhole, well, then we're going to have to get a camera and put it in the lines to camera the system to see if there's a leak, and if there is, then we'll know to be able to fix that. So yes, it is an issue. It's a very complicated issue because of the drainage, because of the county, because of TxDOT, because of all those variables. But we're moving very fast, and after this weekend, much faster, because like they said, it seemed like at first it was not a huge issue, but now it's becoming very, very regular and more pronounced. So that's what we're doing, and we'll continue, and we'll keep the residents updated, and we'll keep y'all updated as in the next few days, as in the week, as they do the analysis on the manholes. If I could get a video of that water, it seems like that's not drain water. I don't know, but it would be good to have that so that we can go to, East Rio Hondo has lines there. We have a sewer line. So to get with the different players and try to determine what that is.
He has a question real quick. What Mark can do is, he can get with you after the meeting, and then he can, address any question only because of the structure of the meeting, unless Mark, you're okay with him asking a question.
If y'all don't mind, I'm okay under the circumstances. Normally I'd say no, but under the circumstances, I want them to know that we care.
Go ahead.
We're
Answer
good.
your question. Yeah, you can go and ask your question.
Just a regular rain. At any point, we're gonna get a hurricane. Now, what's scary about this is that the water is already reaching close to our doorways. During a hurricane, more than likely, this is gonna continue to happen where it reaches all the way into our homes. And during this COVID time, I saw that you, all of you, you took great measures to, for health reasons for our community. Now, I'm thinking this is something that's also that should be concerning to all of you, since this is regarding health reasons, but not through the COVID, but also through drainage or sewage water going into our homes as well for health reasons. If you could, take that same approach as you took, for COVID as well. A lot of us, we rent, like me, like myself, we have to rent hotels, for that. We have to rent a hotel to take shower, to use the bathroom. Sometimes I use my business. It's, and I just, it's unfortunate that we've been taking like 3 years to find, to get updates, and we get the same response. Not that I don't trust what you're saying or what you're all saying, but we would feel a lot better if we would get a little, weekly updates or updates of what's going on with that, rather than just having this meeting been done and then trusting again that something is being done, when then later on we find out that the same issue is happening over a year or so later. Thank you.
Thank you.
We can provide that, and I share your concern on the hurricane. However, keep in mind that it wasn't just a rain shower. We had a little more rain in this event than we had in Hurricane Dolly. So it's scary to talk about a hurricane, but we could have a hurricane and only get 2 to 3 inches, 4 inches. This brought 7.25 inches in that 2 hours and a half time span. Not to diminish your concern, it's still a great concern, but we got a lot of water. We got a hurricane type water on Thursday night, Friday morning. So, but yes, I will come up with a way to give you an update, and I'll let you know what day of the week, we'll start doing that to give you an update, whether it's something written or called, or go stand out in the corner there and get everybody over, or drop something in each home. Be glad to do that.
Thank you very much for coming out today, visitors, and we're going to continue with the meeting. Thanks again. So consent agenda items. We have a total of 11 consent agenda items. Does anybody have any questions? I'm sorry. Here's point number 8. Okay, so number 8, anybody else have any consent agenda items that you wish to not include so we can talk about? Okay, make a motion that we approve consent items 1 through 11 with the exclusion of 8. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those who oppose do the same.
No second.
Do I get a second? Hold on a second. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. Consent agenda items 1 through 11 with the exception of 8. But that's a consideration and action to approve a service agreement with the Commemorative Air Force Air Show as approved by the CDC board.
I have several questions, if it's permissible. The first one, as I was reading through the information, there's mention of the 5,000, but there's no mention of the increase to $7,500 anywhere here. One item. I don't have a problem in helping the community if the information is correct and will stay correct, where the caterer and the porta potties and the tents and all that is coming out of those Fresno's vendors, because that 5,000 gets absorbed real fast back into the coffers of our business people. What guarantees do we have that they'll stay the same and not after it's approved? Well, we got a better offer from somebody else, and go from there. So those are my two questions.
Mr. Herrera, did you want to ask a question as well?
Well, I do, and like one area, it's the business is in the Los Fresnos area. Well, that could be in McAllen. Doesn't help us. And the biggie here is air show attendees from the Upper Valley will be driving on Highway 100 through the heart of the city. This is outrageously not true. People don't have any clue in McAllen or Edinburgh where Cameron County Airport is, and like everybody else, they will Google it. If you will Google Edinburgh to Cameron County, it puts you down 510, not through Los Fresnos. You save 25 miles, and that should have never, that's not true. That statement should have ever been put there.
Mark, would you like to?
Yeah, they were supposed to be here tonight. I don't know why either David or Chris Houston are not here. They were aware that to come as well. The packet read what was requested, which was the $5,000, which was the general. Through the discussion with the CDC board last night, they because of COVID and because of the misyear, they felt the need to increase it by 2,500, and they agreed that the kernel, which is a $3,000 value, would be with the 7,500 that was approved, that the city would get not only the general package, but the kernel package, which is actually a $3,000 value, but they would get both of them for the 7,500. Why they decided, I don't know. That was their vote, and it was approved by all of the ones present. I don't know about Google. I didn't do that, so that's why it showed 5, because that was what was asked for. Did that answer your question?
Well, kind of, but if 5 was asked for, but they generously donated another 2,500, why not just mention it that because of the reasons you just mentioned, it's $7,500 and not 5,000? It looks like we're approving 5,000, but in actuality, we're approving 7,500.
We were going to pull that item. I had it marked on mine to pull before it was asked to be pulled because of it was a change from what we're done. If you recall, we do these agendas on Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and this only happened last night. So that's why I was going to pull the item as well, but was beat to it as by Mr. Herrera. To let you know what their decision was different than what we assumed it would be.
Excuse me, Mark. There is documentation to the effect that that was a recommendation made by the CDC board?
Yes, sir. It was a motion made by I think Mr. Jones made the motion and I can't remember who seconded it, but
Okay, so there is documentation to that effect, so I don't think they're trying to pull any wool over our eyes. They're being
I'm not
honest.
saying that they're trying to
It's
pull the wool
documented.
over anybody's
Sir,
eyes.
I'm
All I'm saying
speaking.
is that there's no doc.
I
that
am
you should
speaking,
have
sir.
made- I understand.
I am speaking.
Yeah.
Let me finish. And if that's the case, then there's nothing wrong with it. The other thing is, most of the people on that board, if I remember correctly, were nominated by you and Mr. Herrera. So what's the problem? You don't trust your people now?
Boy, you like to turn things around, don't you? My question was, and my concern was that the item spoke of 5,000. It comes to be known that it's 7,500. So there's a discrepancy, and that's the only
This is
thing.
not unusual, sir.
Not
This is,
speaking, see? Okay. That's the only discrepancy that I am concerned with, that on one item, we're going to approve 5,000, but actually, if we vote on it, we're actually approving 7,500. And we just need to clear up the discrepancy. If it's 7,500, like I said, I don't have a problem if all these vendors are going to benefit from this air show, from the city of Los Fresnos, then I'm all for it. And I'll gladly vote for it. We just need to clear up the discrepancy.
Mr.
the recommendation made was for 7,500, and we're discussing it here. So what we're going to be voting on is 7,500. There's nothing being hidden. And the other thing is that I don't think there's anything illegal or wrong with this, because in the end, even though some people here are saying that it does not bring any additional business to Los Fresnos, it does. Even though some people don't think it does bring additional business.
You know, I was able to Google the thing right now while we were talking, and for those coming from McAllen, I mean, I go to McAllen all the time. People don't really come over here unless they're going to the island, but it does take you down 510, go in that direction. So if you put it on your GPS, it will route you down San Jose Road. So he is correct about that. There's nothing saying that they won't come through 100. All I'm saying is that Google does route it towards 510. So it does technically not, it's not, people won't be coming through here if they don't know where they're going. And with construction, everybody's going to know to avoid the area. And so that's the other issue, is that how much business are we really going to get when 100 is backed up, you know, for miles and miles? So that, he's got a really good concern there. I just wanted to bring that up. Mark?
yes, sir. I wanted to address Mr. Lopez's other comment was, you know, how do we know is we take their word that they're going to use locals? And if they violate their word, well, then we know that next time. You know, they've assured us that they would. I have not talked to, I'm pretty sure who the porta potty guy is, the tent guy and the kiddie attraction guy is. I haven't personally talked to him whether he's got a contract with him yet or not, but if they some reason don't do it, well, then we know next time that they didn't honor their word.
And I can see if the local businessman turns the offer down. I mean, the offer was made in all honesty, but he chose not to go with it. Well, then you got to go with option 2. So I can see that part of it also.
I mean, it does look good that they put it in writing, and they are putting that they will honor Los Fresnos businesses and stuff. So that at least we have it on paper there. But if they do not do that, then it's just bad. It's a bad taste, you know, and I don't think they would do that. So that's just my opinion. But just wanted to bring up Mr. Herrera's argument. I agree with that.
One thing that I have against is, I mean, if we have some donations to make and we have the money available, we like to keep it inside the city limits. And therefore, studying what you guys are, you know, back and forth, I just make, that's my decision. I'll make a motion not to approve item number 8, consider an action to approve service agreement.
Does anybody second to his?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of not approving action item 8 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those who oppose do the same. Motion carries that we do not move forward with with consent item number 8.
Can we clear it up for the next time around so that we can then vote on it directly? The way it should, let it read the way it should read.
Mark, I don't think we.
I'm not sure what you would want.
Like I said at the very beginning, I'm for it. Right? But it's just some clarifications that, well, the money amount needs to be stated as $7,500, not 5,000. And we go from there. I can see it's not within the city, but it's close. But at the same time, if you look at the vendors, we have to take their word that they're going to select our vendors. Now, if they don't, of course, that's a bad judgment on our part, and shame on us once, but not shame on us twice. And we go from there. So if there's a way of correcting the item to where it reads the way it should read, then
I think at this time, we've already made a motion, so there's really nothing we can do at this point. It's been
For next time.
motioned.
But the item, all you're doing was consideration action to approve a service agreement with a commemorative Air Force Air Show. RGV is approved by the CDC board. That is your legal action that you're taking, and there's nothing in that stipulates funds. The comments stipulated that, but that is just the comments. And so as approved by the CDC board, when we got to that item, of course, you heard about it before in the public comment, but before we got to that item, I had listed in my comments that I would update you on what they actually approved, which was 7,500. So it was worded correctly. There's really nothing to change for legality reasons.
the info came out kind of backwards.
No, it's because I think they had it already on there to set them out, but when they voted on it, it changed. And then Mark put that on the notes that, approve the item, but not necessarily the dollar amount. And that's what we were actually voting on today was the final dollar amount based on what they approved last night.
And in
And
this situation, nothing was approved.
exactly. So moving on, we have action items. Action item number 1, consideration and action to approve the first reading of ordinance 525 to rezone 4.79 acre tract to land from C2 Highway Commercial District to R1 Single Family District located east on FM 803, that was a typo, and west of Cameron County Housing Authority on the north side of State Highway 100. Any questions or comments in regards to action item number 1? If not, do I hear a motion?
I move that we consider the action to approve the first reading of ordinance 525 as stated.
Motion has been made to approve action item number 1. All those in favor signify by saying aye or raising your hand. Aye. All those who oppose do the same. Motion carries. Action item number 1 has been approved. Action item number 2, consideration and action to approve payment in lieu of land for park dedicated for the Villas and Valle Alto Phase 5 subdivision. Any questions or comments in regards to action item number 2?
How much land is it, Mark?
I'm sorry, 64.342 acres. It's on page 96. It shows the different properties that they're dealing with and the valuations.
Where's this property located again, Mark? I'm looking at the map, but where's this at?
It is between Evergreen Street to the east and Whipple Road to the south.
Is that area that's just recently put up the light poles?
Yes, sir. Valle Alto subdivision.
Do I hear a motion on action item number 2?
I so move.
I second.
Okay, motion has been made to approve action item number 2. All those in favor signify by saying aye or raising your hand. Aye. All those who oppose to the same? And motion carries to approve action item number 2. Moving on to action item number 3, consideration and action to approve change order number 1 for the hike and bike trail project. Any questions or comments?
On the amount that you placed on there, Mark, is that just for construction? Because it said that the engineer is gonna get paid by them, or?
It's just construction. The engineering doesn't change. They have a set amount that is for them. That doesn't change.
If there's no questions or comments, is there a motion?
I move that we consider and approve change order number 1.
I'll second.
Okay, motion has been made to approve action item number 3. All those in favor signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye. All those who oppose do the same. And motion carries to approve action item number 3. Moving on to action item number 4, consideration and action to approve an interlocal agreement between the city of Brownsville and the city of Los Fresnos regarding the trail improvements. Any questions or comments in regards to this item?
So the 130,000 is just for the construction, is that correct?
Yes.
If no other questions, do I hear a motion?
I'll go ahead and move that we approve the interlocal agreement.
I second.
Okay, motion has been made to approve action item number 4. All those in favor signify by saying aye or raising your hand. Aye. And all those who oppose to the same. And motion carries. Action item number 4 has been approved. Moving over to action item number 5, consideration and action to update the visitors' remarks public participation form and policy. Any questions or comments in regards to this update? If not, anybody want to make a motion?
I so move.
I second.
Okay, motion has been made to approve action item number 5. All those in favor signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
And all those who oppose to the same. And motion carries to approve action item number 5. Moving on to action item number 6, consideration and action to appoint a person to the Community Development Corporation.
I move we,
So-
appoint, Colonel Keeler to this position.
Okay, and I think there's another participant here. We have Jaime Barbosa, who is a local resident who, I believe if I'm not mistaken, he started his business and currently has 3 businesses. So his application is also inside of your packet.
Are you
I'd
nominated?
like to move
I
that
second it.
Mr. Barbosa be appointed to the board.
And I second that.
I second.
There was already a motion by Mr. Pereira for
Okay.
Mr. Keeler.
Okay, motion has been made to approve Mr. Keeler as the CDC board member. All those in favor signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
And all those who oppose do the same. Motion carries to approve Mr. Keeler as a CDC board member. Action item number 7, consideration and action to set a date and time for dedicated to the Enrique Carrizales Public Safety Building. Mark, on this one, do we have a certain day or time proposed?
Yes, sir. Hector had to leave, but he had contacted the family and they said they would love to do it. One of the family members comes from San Antonio. They would love to either do it Thursday morning, the 29th, Friday morning, the 30th, or Saturday morning, the 31st at say 9 a.m. What we think is just a quick ceremony, kind of give people the history of what occurred. And then from the mayor on behalf of the council and the city, dedicate the official dedicate. We figured we would probably cover the sign that's on the ground and do an official uncovering, even though it's already been used, but maybe have some punch and cookies and something for that, but
So today, do we make an action on that particular day? Because you said there's 3 possible dates.
it's up to y'all to decide that.
Can I make a motion regarding this? Not a motion. I have to make a comment.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. When we had the opening over here on the fire station, we had people talking and talking and talking. When it was over with, there wasn't a single person
I can't hear anything he's saying.
listening, not one person. I think the band never got to play and they left.
Speaking of the mic a little bit.
I
more,
can't
Mr.
hear
Just so
anything
he-
you're saying.
I guess he can't be heard.
As close as I can. Okay. We have too many people talking at these events and I think we need to limit it, who's gonna do the talking and have an agenda and stick to it. And just don't let everybody that wants to come and talk. And at the grand opening at the city, we had the same thing. It just went on and on and on and people leave. And it's wonderful. We have beautiful buildings, but on this thing, I think it's a very solemn occasion and we need to treat it with respect and just have an agenda, Mark, and that's it. It's in concrete and follow it. That's my 2 bits.
We're gonna use what we have here, a 5-minute time.
The 5-minute timer.
I agree, they were too long. We were responsible for this, but we were asked to do certain things as a reason why we were not responsible for the fire. That was their fire and EMS, their decision on, and they all had agendas and who was going to talk and who was going to do it. Probably too long.
Nobody was there. Everybody left.
Right.
The band was gonna perform and they left. It's embarrassing.
If you talk too much, you let a lot of people talk, you're gonna lose the crowd.
Great. Well, thank you for that. Is there a certain date and time that you all would like to have, or do we have to make that decision now for date and time?
Why don't we let Jackie put out an email and then we can go back and look at our calendars. And then we can say, okay, this date's good for me, this date's good.
No, it's either that or what is it, a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or what is it, something like that?
Yes.
See, for me, typically Saturdays work better, but I mean, everybody's different.
Saturday.
So Saturday works for all of us, so you guys are okay with that? Yes, I'm not sure if we can come up with an agreement right now, Friday. Anybody does not work on Friday? What time was the proposed times?
I got the time, you're gonna have to make it in the morning.
I suggest to make it early when it's not so hot.
It'd be nice like at 8:30 or something like that, sometime before 9, because 9 is usually when business starts to run, so.
And spray for mosquitoes.
I work on Friday, but I can be here on Friday morning.
Friday, 8:30.
Friday, 8:30?
Sounds good.
Sounds good to me. So consideration and action to set Friday at 8:30 on, I'm not sure the date. What's the date on that?
The 30th of
The
July.
30th of July to dedicate to the Enrique Carrizales Public Safety Building for the signs. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion.
I second.
Motion has been made to approve action item number 7. All those in favor signify by saying aye or raising your hand. Aye. All those who oppose do the same. And motion carries to approve action item number 7. Moving on to presentation. Introductory presentation by Kendin Keast Collaborative on the Los Fresnos UDC project schedule. It looks like we have a guest today, and the floor is yours. We're having technical difficulties. I think we can't hear you yet. Give me one.
while he gets his sound going, it's for our planning and zoning ordinance. The thing that tells us what we can do, the law which we live by on zoning for homes, for businesses, all those kinds of things. And part of your budget, the CDC paid for a portion and the city paid for a portion to upgrade those. And so he's going to give us kind of an update on that, so y'all know.
Okay, we still can't hear you. We're working on it, sir, so it should be here shortly. Give us 1 second. Can you hear us, sir? If you can hear us. I believe it's a microphone on your end, sir. That seems to be the issue. We're going to go ahead and test our speakers just to make sure. Yeah, our speakers are working.
Got the microphone here. Can you hear me now? Okay. Okay. All right. Is that better?
Welcome. Thank you.
Everybody hearing me now? Hello?
We can hear you.
Oh,
We can hear you.
hello?
We can hear you.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. All right. Apologize for that. Thank you for the opportunity to present this evening. My name is Steve Sizemore, and I'm just going to walk through this presentation here briefly, give you an overview of what we're doing. Been working closely with Mark and Jackie here over the last month or so. Visited Los Fresnos back in June or May, I'm sorry. And so getting to know your great town. Can you see the presentation? Is that?
Yes.
Are you okay? Let me go ahead and. Okay. So just briefly here in a few minutes, I'm going to give you an idea of who we are, Kendig Keys Collaborative, what we will be doing with the city, with the UDC, what you will get at the end, and why this is important for you. So Ken Keith, we're based out of Sugar Land. I'm actually working out of Kentucky, but the rest of my partners, we're in various locations, but we've been in Sugar Land for over 30 years. And we've worked over, hello?
Steve, this is Mark. Can you
Yes,
slow
yes.
down your
Oh,
speech
sure.
and try to
Oh,
enunciate?
sure.
We're getting
Oh.
some muffled, so the best
Okay, thank you.
slow down and help us so that we can actually digest what you have to say.
Okay, thanks for the feedback. It's hard to, I just know what you hear on the other side with these speakers. So, so Ken Keith, we have a lot of experience in Texas, and all of our firm, we have local government experience. So we're a small firm, and so we feel that we have a lot to offer you. Our sister company is Encode Plus, and so this code will be provided and operating online, highly interactive, and I think you'll find that quite beneficial for not only you as a governing body, but also for the citizens of Los Fresnos and those who choose to develop there. So I am the project manager for this, and I will also have David Baird with me. He is our legal advisor, has practiced law in the past, so he will be available for any legal questions as well. But we're a multidisciplined firm. So the Unified Development Code is a unique approach to bring everything together that you have that determines the outcome for development. So we basically will be pulling in the subdivision regulation, the zoning code, and then the manufactured home chapter from the Code of Ordinances. And the UDC will be organized basically thinking of it from a hierarchy of the casual users, what they would want to know of what is my property zoned, how are uses permitted, how much can be built on the site. And then people like yourself or the staff, well, yes.
We're going to have to do something different. We really can't understand what you're saying. So we're going to have to try this again another time, or you record something and send it, or you be here to do it. Because, it's just not, it's not working on the side.
Is it the quality of the microphone?
Ours is fine. We think it's from you, but
Okay.
I don't know that.
Okay, I apologize. I will share the presentation and we can just go from there.
Are you based in Sugar Land, Texas?
I am based in Louisville, Kentucky. But
who is based in Sugar Land, Texas?
Our chief, Brett Keast, is in.
Can somebody from there come in person to make this presentation?
I can talk with them, yes. And actually, David is working in Edinburgh at this time. So I will communicate with him.
Okay, we'll work on something and do another form of
Okay.
Either in person or something else. Okay.
Yes, we'll practice this. I apologize.
Thank you.
Okay,
I know
thank
it's
you
gonna
for.
cost us some money, so we'd like to get
Thank you very much.
the best that we can for our money.
Yes.
So moving on to acknowledgement of city managers' reports. Mark, any feedback on that? Any questions or comments from the board? Do I hear a motion?
I move that we accept the city manager's report as stated.
Okay, motion has been made to acknowledge of the city manager's reports. All those in favor signify by saying aye or raising your hand. And all those who oppose do the same as well. Motion carries. Acknowledgement of city manager's reports. Acknowledgement of department head reports. Any questions or comments in regards to that? If not, is there a motion?
I second.
Motion has been made to acknowledge of the department head reports. All those in favor signify by saying aye or raise your hands. Aye. All those who oppose do the same. Motion carries to acknowledge of the department head reports. The time is now 7:15. I'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting. Thank you. Have a good night.